Okay, so topic for today is what's with all the marketing. And today we will cover what is marketing and why marketing matters, who is your customer and how to define one, how to frame a clear message, the one that your customer should receive, and we will cover the channels you can use to make sure your message is transferred directly to your customer. I will also be sharing with you some quotes from well-known people around the world and hopefully inspire you and give you some courage to start practicing marketing if you haven't been doing it already, or to share some basic insights in how to keep things simple and efficient. So let's start by answering the biggest question. This is the quote, as I mentioned, and we are moving on to what is marketing. So, like mentioned before, I will simplify things for you, and this is simple explanation. So, marketing is the process of putting your product or service on the market to the customer. So, in order to do that, you need to know as many information as possible about who your customers are. Once you know who your customers are, what are their habits, and all the other details, you have to make sure you understand the channels you can use. Why are channels important? Because the channels will distribute the message you want for your customers to get it. So simply put, marketing is about the product or service you're trying to sell, customers you're selling it to, channels you're using, and messages that you're sending. Now we have something that's called old school marketing. If we get back to the past, old school marketing was based on selling products or services. The relationship between company and customer was purely transactional. So even though the loyalty sometimes would be created in the process, it was never primary goal. Everything was about transaction. In new school marketing, things started to change. So the marketing in more recent times can leave us with the feeling that we live in a world of basically advertising pollution. So in 2007, the average person was exposed up to 5,000 ads per day. Today, we are exposed to around 10,000 ads daily. So today we do understand that pushing product doesn't work anymore, especially in the era of internet, when the customers can connect with each other and trade stories about you and your products or services, about your company, and they can easily find alternative choices. I would also like to cover some basic differences between the product and the service, just to make sure that you understand why there are different approaches based on the marketing the product, marketing, how you market the product and how you market the service. So when it comes to what is the difference between service and product, so marketing product, for example, like shampoo or dog food, is very different challenge than marketing a service. For example, telephone communication service or legal advice. If you want to transition from marketing products to service or the other way around, you have to know and understand and most of all respect these differences so you can effectively promote and sell. Understanding the different challenges in product and service marketing can really help you establish the right approach. So I made a list of the most important differences, and we can start by mentioning what is that you actually sell. So if you are selling the service, please keep in mind that you are actually selling relationship. And why do we say relationship? Well, because your customer will not take anything other than the feeling of satisfaction. With a product, it's completely different story. Every product is specially designed to satisfy the needs and wants of the customer. Another important difference is who comes to whom. So when it comes to the service, you want customers to come to you, to reach to you, and at the same time, it's opposite with the product. So the product comes to your customer. We also have to mention returnability, because with the product, you can always return it and you can always refund it if the customer is not satisfied. But this is not the case with the service because it's not refundable. So you really want to make sure that your customer is satisfied. We also have to mention tangibility as an important element when it comes to differences between services and products. Why? Well, because products by nature are mostly physical. They can be touched, they can be smelled, felt, and seen. Can you do that with the service you offer? Well, of course not. So the last difference is about customization. So services can be customized, and there is a great flexibility if we mention services and customization in the same sentence. However, this is not the case in products. So to conclude, when framing the message for your targeted customer, and we'll cover the target customer part shortly, please take into account whether it is the product you're trying to sell or the service. And please keep in mind these differences. I would also want us to shortly go through the term you might have come across, or you might come across in the future. I would want to mention something called the marketing mix. So marketing mix is very important, especially in this product versus service part that I would want to cover. Why is marketing mix important? Well, first, let me explain a bit. Back in the days, there were mostly just products that were being sold, not services. And this is when marketing mix was actually created. So a marketing mix is basically a set of actions, of tactics. It's a foundation model for your business. There is this 4 Ps, and it is actually classification for developing effective marketing strategy. And it was first introduced in the 1960s by marketing professor and author Jerome McCarthy. 4 Ps refers to product, price, placement, and promotion. And each element can be examined independently, but in practice, they often are depending on each other. So we have product. This represents an item, mostly the product, not service, that is designed to satisfy customers' needs and wants. To effectively market the product, it's important to identify what differentiates it from any competing products that are out there. When we mention price, the sale price of the product reflects what consumers are willing to pay for it. When we mention placement, the type of product sold is important to consider when determining areas of distribution. So basic consumer products, such as paper goods, they are often very available in many stores, while premium products are typically available in only select stores. Also, another consideration whether to place the product in a physical store, place it online, or do it both ways. The last P is about promotion. So this is about activities that might include advertising, sale promotion, personal selling, and public relation. And now, since the big shift started to happen and many businesses started to focus not only on product, but also on services, instead of started to focus on services instead of the product, 4P became 7P. So today it's even recommended that you use the full scope of 7P elements when it comes to marketing mix. And this is when we have additional 3Ps. So we have people, process, and physical evidence. Let's start with people. So in marketing mix, this refers to anyone who is directly or indirectly involved in the business side of the organization. This means anyone involved in selling, designing, marketing, recruiting, or any kind of training. Process involves how your business runs. So how the service is being delivered, how your customers move down the sale funnel, what's with the checkout, the shipping, delivery, etc. Essentially, the process describes the series of actions or the fundamental elements that are involved in delivering the service to the customer. And now the physical evidence, it actually means more than just proof of purchase. So even though it does include this important aspect, physical evidence is also the overall existence of your brand. So if you think about website, branding, social media, logo, your organization's decor, also post-purchase thank you email. So all of these elements offer your customer the physical evidence they need to be certain that your business is viable, reliable, and legitimate. Now, when we cover the part why marketing mix, now we can cover the part why actually marketing mix matters. And it matters because it helps you understand what your product or service can offer to your customers. It helps you plan a successful product offering, and it can also help with planning, developing, and executing effective marketing strategies. Marketing mix also helps businesses make use of their strengths and to avoid unnecessary costs. I would want us to move to the next section of the webinar, but of course not before I share another quote, the one I think is crucial. So remember how in the beginning we mentioned it's all about selling or marketing your product or service to your customer. So now this is the part where we actually cover your customer. There is a term called customer persona. And I want to get into details. So the question is who your customer persona is. So customer personas are actually semi-functional representations of your ideal customers based on data and research. Having a deep understanding of your buyer personas or your customer personas, however you want to call them, is actually critical to driving content creation, product development, sales follow-up, and really anything that relates to customer acquisition and retention. You can ask yourselves, why are customer personas important? So they help you understand your customer and your potential customer better. This makes it easier for you to tailor your content, to tailor your messaging, to tailor your product and services to meet specific needs, behaviors, and concerns of the member of your target audience. For example, you may know that your target buyers are caregivers, but you don't know what their specific needs and interests are. What is the typical background of your ideal customer persona? So in order to get a full understanding of what makes your best customers tick, it's critical to develop detailed personas for your business. The strongest customer personas are based on market research, as well as on insights you gather from your actual customers base. You can do it through surveys or through interviews or any other different form of collecting feedback. And depending on your business, you can have as few as 1 or 2 personas, or you can have as many as 10 or 20. But I would recommend, especially if you're new to customer personas, to please start small. You can always develop more personas later if you need them. How can customer personas be used in marketing? So developing personas allows you to create content and messaging that appeals to your target audience. It also enables you to target or personalize your marketing to different segments of your audience. So instead of sending the same lead emails to everyone in your database, you can actually segment customer persona and tailor your messaging to what you know about those different personas. How do you create one? So customer personas can be created through research and surveys and interviews, and all with a mix of customers, prospects, and those outside your contact. For example, you can look through your contacts database to uncover trends about how certain leads or customers find and consume your content. Interview your customers and prospects to discover what they like about your products or your service. And also make sure you include other team members, especially those who spend most of their time communicating with your customers. Once you've gone through the research process, you'll have a lot of data about your potential and current customers. But what do you do with all the data? How do you put it all in a way that it's easily for everyone to understand? So the next step is to use your research and to identify any patterns and whatever it is that's common from the answers to your interview questions, and to develop at least one primary persona and then share one with the rest of your organization. So this is the example of all the relevant information, and this is where you get as creative as you want. So from literally giving the name to your customer persona, putting the photo, describing her or his appearance, to covering demographics. This is the part where you mentioned their age, their gender, occupation. Moving to psychographics, this is the part where you cover more detailed info about their personality, lifestyle, social status, and everything related. And then you move on to the part about your customer persona's behavior. This is where you really juice things up. What kind of hobbies do they have? How much time do they spend on it? What are their habits? And make sure you cover both positive and negative habits. And this is it, you're done. So by now you should actually have clear understanding of what it is that you're actually selling, as well as the person you're selling it to. So we are moving on with the next quote. And then I would want to get the part of how do you get to your customer, or what channels do you use and what channels are out there for you to use. So I've created the list of 10 most popular marketing channels that modern businesses use today. Whether you are a big business or small business, you really want to consider which ones would best fit you. So we have search engine optimization, we have content marketing, we have email marketing, social media marketing, we have word of mouth, influencer marketing, we have offline and online advertising, partnership marketing, and community building. I would start with the search engine optimization. So, according to HubSpot, 62% of consumers use a search engine when they want to learn more about a new business or product or service, while 41% use search engine when they're already ready to buy. If you add to that the fact that trillions of Google searches are made every day, it's clear that search engines are still the go-to method when it comes to finding information online. So search engine optimization is actually the process of making your website rank high in the search engine result pages for a certain term or keyword. This allows your content to be visible and easily accessible to those that are searching for the term or for something similar to it. With search engine optimization, you obtain your organic website traffic from the search engines because you're not paying for ad placements. SEO as a technology changes constantly. So if you do decide to use this channel, make sure that you find the professional who knows how to adapt all the tactics, because the changes are happening really quickly. Then we have content marketing. So bombarding existing and potential customers with buy messages when they're not ready is really, really big marketing. No, you don't want to do that. So not only will these potential customers avoid you like a plague, but they'd only think that all you care about is the sale. And not only that, but they will probably share this information with their family and friends with this experience. And will create the negative word of mouth, which is something that I will also mention later. So content marketing is an approach centered on consistently developing and distributing valuable content. This means blog, videos, infographics, case studies, interviews, white papers, anything to attract specific segment of the market. So the goal of content marketing is to drive leads or customers to perform an action that's actually profitable for your organization. We move on to email marketing. So market research firm Radicati predicts that by the end of 2023, the number of email users worldwide will top 4.3 billions. And when you look at it, it makes complete sense, because how many people without an email do you actually know? So this widespread use of email is the reason why email marketing is still such a powerful way to engage with people who have shown interest in your product or service or website or brand. Email marketing uses email to develop relationships with current or your potential customers. It is a channel that is often used when it comes to brand building, keeping your customers informed, or delivering marketing messages that specifically address a recipient's needs as determined by their position in the buying journey. We have social media marketing, of course. I think we all know what social media marketing is. I will only mention that even today, with different media platforms such as LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and many more, Facebook is still the #1 social media platform when it comes to increasing your online following and connecting with customers. So whether you like it or not, it is how it is. We move on to the word of mouth marketing. And it's just asking the question of how likely are you to purchase something that person you trust recommends. And when was the last time a friend's social media post made you research a product, service, or a company? According to the USA Consulting Company, 83% of Americans are more likely to purchase product or service that's recommended by a friend or a family member through a word of mouth. And this is a general trend, so it's not just America's thing. And you might want to think about it when you will be thinking about what channels are best for you to use. We're moving on to influencer marketing. So influencer marketing is the use of influencers, so people with dedicated social media following, to mention or endorse your product or service to their followers. Influencer marketing campaigns can include product reviews, sponsored content, content and product collaborations, or any kind of giveaways and competitions. Then we have offline advertising. Now with so many things that are happening online, it's really difficult to imagine that something can actually be happening once we turn our computers and phones off, and it does. So I will just mention some of the elements of offline marketing because I want you to think about if some of them can be applied and used in your business. So here is the example that we have: business cards, some kind of giveaways, prices, speaking engagements, any kind of networking at local and national events, print advertising, direct emails, any kind of flyers, or any kind of branded equipment. From offline advertising, we will move to online advertising. So online advertising actually uses the internet to promote product, service, or marketing message. Online ads are generally found on sites like Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and individual websites. And when it comes to online advertising, here we have display advertising. It uses images and text. Examples are banners and pop-ups. Then we have paid social. Examples are the sponsored or promoted posts you see on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We have native advertising. This is actually paid content that matches the style and tone of the site that's publishing it. We have affiliate marketing. This is the use of affiliates to promote your product or service. And affiliate marketing marketers usually earn a commission for each sale or lead as a result of their marketing efforts. The last, we have video ads, the use of videos instead of still images or text in your advertisements. I also want to mention, when we talk about online advertising, some benefits as well. Online advertising are cheaper than traditional ads. So TV ads can cost businesses anywhere from a few $1,000s to 5 million. For example, on Super Bowl ads is spent this amount of money, so $5 million for only 30-second spot. There's the element of powerful analytics. With great analytics today that's available for online ads, you really don't have to guess which particular ad got the customers through the door. And then the last thing is about targeting. One significant advantage of online ads over offline advertising is definitely the targeting. This allows you to choose specific audience for each ad you want to run. I also want to mention partnership marketing. Partnership marketing happens when two brands collaborate to create campaigns that are beneficial to both parties. So it is a cost-effective way of amplifying your market reach and your brand's reputation by working with different organization or business whose product or services actually complement yours. Some examples that I want to mention are co-hosting events, creating co-branded content. Something mentioned previously is affiliate marketing. In this form, it's affiliate marketing partnerships. Then you have referral partnerships, sponsorships, and also charitable partnerships. The last thing I want to mention is community building. So building a community around a brand is one of the best marketing strategies you can use. Brand community is actually a group of people, ideally your customers and your target audience, who come together because of their attachment to your product or your brand. Just to name a few of active brand communities, this is Harley Davidson, Apple, Jeep, Lego, Xbox, and some others that you can find here, or maybe you can even think of. This is where we actually this is where I want you to think about all the last 10 channels that I've actually mentioned before. Of course, there are more, but fortunately, you don't have to adopt every marketing channel to become successful. I want to stress out the importance of making sure that you use only those channels that fit those objectives that your business or organization has. This is the part where we actually move to another quote, as we're coming closer to the last element I want us to cover. And this is the one about the message that we want you to send to your customer. Research from SiriusDecisions shows that only 35% of the content created is actually actively used. And if we put it in a different way, it means that 65% of the content goes unused. And this is something that we can actually call wasted time and wasted effort and wasted money. So what's the reason that so much content goes unused? So in case we have a content that is unfindable, or this means that it's difficult to find it, or that users don't even know exists. And the second reason is that it's unusable. So it is either irrelevant to your customers, to your audience, or it has poor quality. And to make sure that you reduce any potential content waste, you can use well-crafted customer personas, the one we mentioned earlier, to guide and align your marketing messages with customers' pain points, interests, and questions. If we talk about how to create messaging, I want to mention something called messaging framework. It is also known as message map, or messaging architecture, or message matrix. And it's basically a communication tool that helps any organization to simplify, align, and prioritize the most important messages. Message map helps people in all departments, so it's not just some marketing thing that only marketers use. It helps you to deliver consistent messages. It also helps you address different personas with consistent, clear, and relevant messaging, which is key when it comes to authenticity and essential when it comes to build brand trust. Most important, message map answers your target ultimate question, and this one is what's in it for me. There's no single definite messaging architecture or any framework template that you can use. So on the following slides, I will guide you through some steps you can use to make sure that you effectively create messages. After this, you can even create a template of your own. We have step one. Step one is about identifying your main message. So like mentioned before, it's all about answering the most important question your customer or potential customer would ask. What is in it for me? So in this part and this step, please make sure that you have to provide answers to all of your customer personas that you've created. So if you've created 2 or 5, make sure you cover all these steps for each of your customer personas. We have step 2. Step 2 is about identifying 3 or 4 positive points that support the main message. Now, if you ask yourselves why 3 or 4, I can tell you that psychologists have found that human brain is a pattern-seeking machine, and 3 is the smallest number needed for the brain to detect a pattern. So the communications rule of 3 actually suggests that words grouped into 3s are more appealing and easier to remember. And in addition to that, psychology research indicates that our working memory, which is basically our short-term memory capacity, is also limited to about 3 to 5 items or chunks. So whether it's chunk of numbers or letters or words. Step 3 is provide proof. So this is all about the evidence, any kind of proof, any kind of show. This is the part where you want to showcase studies, that you want to present facts, that you want to present figures, whatever you have to make sure that you show any kind of evidence to support your product and your service or your organization. Please always keep in mind that good messaging is always about your customer. You have to make sure they understand the value of the thing, what's in it for them. Before we move on, this is the last quote. And by now we have covered how important it is to know what it is that you're actually trying to market. So is it the product or is it the service? We have covered how to define your customer personas as well as why they are important. We have mentioned 10 different channels that you can choose from to make sure you reach out to your customer, as well as how to frame a message you want them to hear. So this last part is actually about creating some sort of short conclusion of everything that I've mentioned earlier. So the question in the end, or maybe in the beginning, you want to ask yourself is why marketing matters. So I want to mention that marketing is not about creating Facebook or Instagram posts regularly or creating promotions for consumers to purchase your products or having newsletter subscriptions. So marketing is about building relationships with your audience while meeting your promise as a brand. So in other words, it's about convincing strangers why they need your brand, your product, or service regularly. When it comes to building relationships with your customers, which is one of the benefits of why marketing actually, it answers the questions why marketing matters. So it's most likely the best investment you can make. You really do want your customers to feel the need to relate to you or your brand more than ever. They need to identify themselves and their values with your brand. So make sure that through marketing, you can make sure that your values equals your customers' values. It is not just about feeling a connection to the product, but building relationship takes time. So this is the part where I'm actually stressing out that the importance, it's important that you keep in mind that everything that you do will take you a certain amount of time. So nothing happens overnight. Another benefit of why marketing matters is you use it to make sure that you showcase the differentiation you have on the market. So it's about brand differentiation, and today it is everything. Why? Because you do want your brand or your product, services, whatever it is that you're offering, you want it to stand out. You want to make sure that you explain what makes you different. You have to explain what makes you unique. And please note that while assuring that your potential customers understand what makes you uniqueness and what makes you different, please make sure that you don't use any kind of negative marketing when it comes to your competition. Third part or third argument or answer, whatever we want to call it, is actually using the marketing can be used to make you stand out. In other words, what does it mean? So when you combine everything we mentioned today, you really can make a difference in your work. You can create the content that's relevant. You know what channels are out there, so make sure you take the ones to fit your needs. And then you really have easy access to your potential customers. So just make sure you use that. Um, Fourth element, customers today want to belong. And this is where marketing also becomes one of the most important things, is because customers' needs are changing. Today, everything is about belonging. Everyone wants to belong. Everyone wants to know, and they want to feel like they can relate to something. So this is your opportunity. You want to give your customers sense of belonging, and this is how you use actually marketing. You are providing them with feeling that you are making a difference, and you're providing them with the feelings that they can be part of something that makes a difference, and just by doing that you're actually making a difference. um, in the end, I want you to think of what I'm about to say. And this is one of the most important things I want you to carry from this webinar, is that everything takes time. I know I've mentioned it already, but things do not happen overnight. And I want to encourage you to really think about everything you can do for your organization or for your business. And I want you to start doing it. It's a one step at a time. And after all, I'll finish with this quote: it is better not to offer anything than offer something while not knowing how and to whom to communicate. So this is where we actually, this is where we end our webinar. Thank you for being here. I also wanted to mention that the webinar was being recorded. So in the follow-up email that will be sent to everyone who registered for the webinar, you will be provided with this recordings webinar. So you, in case you missed it, you can always check out the recording. If you have any kind of questions, any kind of doubts, or would want to know more details about all of the other elements that we've covered through this webinar, this is my email, so make sure you contact me in case of any questions. And this is it. Thank you once more for being here, and see you soon.